High school basketball is back on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel. This afternoon from Royerton, Indiana, 3A basketball as the Mississinewa Indians take on the undefeated Delta Eagles. Good evening, and a couple hours early anyway. Welcome in. Brian Beaver along with you. It's hard-breaking, long-time habits. This is not good evening, but it is good afternoon. It feels like a regional Saturday, and we're not far away from that being reality about a month from now. But this is a great matchup this afternoon. Mississinewa, 10 wins, 5 losses overall this season. Winners of 3 straight for their first-year head coach, James Reed, coming in off an impressive win at Wabash. Delta, well, if you haven't heard about them, you've been hiding under a rock. They have gotten better as the season has gone along, and all they've done is run 18 wins in a row off to start their season. They are the number 2 team in the 3A poll this week, trailing only Northwestern, a team, by the way, Mississinewa has played and lost to earlier in the season. So only 2 boys unbeaten left in all of Indiana. They're both in 3A. They're number 1 and number 2 in the poll, and Mississinewa, Ole Miss, has played one and will play the other in about 5 minutes from now. We mentioned Delta is clicking on all 8 cylinders for head coach Mark Detweiler in his second year. They're off to a fantastic start. There's a lot of excitement in northeastern Delaware County about just how far this team might be able to take its fortunes in 2018-19. They're the leaders in the Hoosier Heritage Conference. They're in the driver's seat for a possible conference championship, coming off the heels of a county championship. And at an unscathed 18-0, they got a big red target on their back, and the red-wearing Mississinewa Indians would love to prick a pin in their balloon and give them that first L of the year. Of course, the farther you go into a season undefeated, the more pressure can build on kids. These are absolutely fallible human beings. There's 15, 16, 17-year-old guys down there, and I guarantee they feel some of it. Maybe not a lot. I'm sure the coaching staff has tried to keep them with their heads on straight and have the perspective they need to have going into the stretch run here now that we're into February. But it is what it is. And when you're number 2 in the state and you're 18-0, a lot of eyeballs are on you for a lot of reasons, and rightfully so. Mississinewa, as I mentioned, comes in after their most recent victory, a good Wabash team that they beat, and they ran off a 12-0 run to start that game and won impressively going away against the Apaches. So this is by no means a gimme game for the Delta Eagles. This could be one of their stiffer challenges of this entire 2018-19 regular season. A couple names you're going to want to keep an ear on today. Of course, for Delta, their leading scorer, Josh Bryan, who is at 24.6 a game, coming in off another fine performance Thursday night in their 74-46 win over Greenfield Central on the road. And on the other side of the ledger, Tay McClung, who had 26 for Ole Miss in their win over Wabash the other night. Wabash, a good team. That's a good win for Ole Miss. You hear the crowd coming to its feet now, the final couple minutes of the warm-up period. Delta and Ole Miss have come back on the floor to finish their warm-ups. We're about set to go. We'll take our first break. When we come back, the starting lineups and the opening tip of this one. It's Ole Miss and Delta next on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel. Stay right there.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in Indiana so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Who do I play high school softball for? I play for my mom and dad who've never missed a game.
Whether they're playing for their teammates, their classmates, or their community, high school student athletes in Indiana learn important lessons they'll use for the rest of their lives, like respect for the rules and the value of hard work and sacrifice. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. A crisp October evening, a stadium filled with fans, a pass-through, a journey completed. State of euphoria? No, the state of Indiana. High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. The clutch shot, the timely hit, the perfect pitch, the heroic catch, the brilliant save, the photo finish. The Indiana High School Athletic Association would like to remind you that the biggest plays in sports matter little if you don't practice sportsmanship. Character counts. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
Welcome back to Delta High School. Brian Beaver along with you for a matinee edition of Boys High School basketball this afternoon. The teams are on the floor. The lineups are being introduced. Here's how they'll start them today. First for Mississinewa, number 12, Larry Dean, a 6'2 senior. Number 21, Tay McClung, a 6'3 sophomore. Number 22, Landon Swanner, a 6'2 sophomore. Number 24, Anthony Horton, a 6' junior. And the fifth starter for Ole Miss, number 33 on the all-name team anywhere you go, Heisman Skeens, 5'9", and a senior. For Delta, the Eagles will run out their usual starting five. Zach Garner, number 3, a 5'10 junior, averaging 3.1 points per game and more assists than that. Number 5, Josh Bryan, the silky smooth 6'3 senior, averaging 24.6 points a game. Number 10, Tyler Wilburn, a 6'3 senior, averaging 11.1 points per game. Josh Greenberg, jersey number 20, 5'11 and a junior, 7.1 points a contest. And the fifth starter for Delta, their tower of power, their big man, 6'5 sophomore Brady Hunt. He'll wear jersey 32 and bring in a 12 points per game even average in the scoring column for Mark Detweiler. Teams are raring to go. Pretty good crowd in here, given the fact that this is a busy weekend. You've got wrestling regionals today, swimming and diving girls sectional finals today, boys basketball matinees because the girls sectional tournaments are being played tonight. And while we're on that topic, Delaware County has 3 teams left in the girls tournament. Muncie Burris in 3A, Cowan and Daleville in 1A. Good luck to them the rest of the way. Possible that at Southern Wells in 1A you can have a Cowan Daleville championship game on Monday night, but a lot of basketball lies ahead before we're sure about anything there. So it's a great time of year. Baseball season is beckoning now that it's February, and man, there's a lot of hoops being played. Delta will wear their home whites today with gold lettering and navy blue trim. Ole Miss in the bright red uniforms, white lettering, black trim. In the center circle for Delta, Brady Hunt. And Larry Dean will jump it for Ole Miss. We're about set to go. Officials are ready. Ball in the center circle. The tip is up, and it's controlled here in the back court by Delta. Here come the Eagles. Dean will pick Brian up man-to-man at midcourt. Now to Brady Hunt out on the wing. They'll swing it around the perimeter. Wilburn thought about a 3, fake the 3. Bryan will fire a 3, and he hits. Josh Bryan, cash money, 3-0 Eagles. Here in the early going. Swanner with it here on the near end of the floor as Ole Miss moves it right to left across your imagination. Horton picked up his dribble. Skeens, now Swanner here on the near wing. Looks to feed the post, can't do it. They'll reverse the ball. Far side now, and Horton with a skip pass. It's nearly turned over. Ole Miss comes up with it. Swanner guarded closely in the corner. Delta in a 2-3 zone here, but they'll guard closely on the ball. Skeen drove it, got cut off on the baseline. Now Swanner out here on the wing. Back on top. Now they swing it on the baseline. McClung threw it away. Turnover Delta. Great team defense again by one of the best defensive teams in Indiana. Josh Bryan brings it into the forecourt, spins on his drive into the paint, picks it up baseline, feeds underneath, nearly threw it away. It's out of bounds off the hands of a defender from Ole Miss. He was trying to hit Greenberg on a cut and couldn't do it. Baseline inbound play just to the right of the basket. Greenberg will trigger in for Delta. 1 minute and 17 seconds into the game. 3-0 Eagles. Greenberg looks, gets it into Bryan. He'll fire from the baseline, swish. Josh Bryan, 2 attempts, 2 makes, 5 points. 5-0 Eagles. Ole Miss trying to get a hoop on the baseline. Shot forced up, no good from McClung. Rebound, Brady Hunt of Delta. He'll bring it across the timeline by himself. Now passes on the far wing. And now a baseline drive by Wilburn, back out to Hunt. Jab step, takes it inside. Wilburn in the corner, now on the baseline. Looks for help as he's cut off. Good defense by Ole Miss. Man-to-man here. Little matchup, and there's a turnover by Delta. Coming together quickly, the Indians have the ball, trailing by 5. 2 minutes into the game. Skeens with it on the wing, now out on top to Swanner. Now far wing to Skeens again. They work it on top, reverse it around the arc. Horton fires cross court, deep corner. Here's a drive, and now pass nearly thrown away at a whistle under the basket. Is the basket going to be good? The layup was in, and it looks like the bucket's going to count. On a nice finish by Tay McClung. A Delta foul in a 5-2 contest. The foul whistled on Tyler Wilburn. The free throw is good. McClung with the old-fashioned three-point play. And it's 5-3 Eagles. 5:35 to go first quarter. Bryan on the baseline, fakes, fires off the glass, good. Josh Bryan with 7, Delta with 7. In a 7-3 affair. 5:20 to go first quarter. Here in the near end forecourt. Ole Miss on the attack. Swanner with it on the wing. Now they cross-court it to Horton behind a screen. Fires for 3, swished. Anthony Horton with his first bucket to make it a 7-6 game. Delta quickly back the other way. Good comeback here by Ole Miss in the early going. Wing 3, good by Greenberg. It's the Josh show. All the points, all 10 by Josh, is Josh Bryan and Josh Greenberg. His first triple for Josh G. It's a 10-6 Delta lead. Indians back on the attack in the forward court. Here's Horton, feeding baseline. McClung fakes, fires, can't get it. Good defense in the post by Brady Hunt. He brings down the board and brings the ball across the timeline. Gives off to Bryan on the wing. Now out on top, Wilburn, jab step, drives the paint, tries to feed down low, lost the handle. Turnover Delta, quickly the other way. Here comes Horton into the paint, feeds the baseline. McClung again, tries to fire, can't get it, but he's fouled. He'll go to the stripe. Give the foul to Zach Garner. First one on him, second one on Delta. And it's a pair of charity stripe tosses for McClung, and he hits the first. Tay has 4 points in the game to make it 10-7. He'll shoot another one here. Good-looking player. Fires, hits. 5 points for Tay McClung. He's 3 out of 3 at the stripe, and the lead is 10-8 Delta. Midway through the first period. Eagles in the forecourt looking to get a shot. Here's a feed to the corner. Garner has it. Now feeds down low to Hunt. It's thrown away. Another turnover. Third of them now by Delta. They got to clean that up. Ole Miss with a chance to take the lead. Here's a spinning drive inside. Off the glass. Nice finish. Give the bucket to Anthony Horton. He's got 5, and we're tied for the first time today at 10 each. Drive on the other end. Shot won't go. Second try won't go. Here's Hunt with a tie-up in the paint in a battle with Horton for the ball, and I think we're going to have a foul instead. It's a Mississinewa foul. The foul is going to go on Anthony Horton of Ole Miss. That's his first. It's a common foul. First on the Indians in the game, and it's an inbounds baseline play for Delta with Greenberg to trigger. Throws it way into the deep forecourt to Bryan. Bryan pulls up straight out on top, 17-footer. It was partially blocked. Delta with the offensive rebound. They'll try it again. Greenberg for 3. Missed it with an air ball. Might have been deflected. So here comes Ole Miss in a 10-10 game. They've never led, but they got a chance to here. Horton drives, bumped, fires, hits. A beauty. Wow. Nice move. 7 points for him, and it's 12-10 Ole Miss over Delta on the other end. Bedwell fires a little teardrop from 10. He's got it. Give him his first bucket. We've got a whistle and a dead ball situation. 12-12 game off Bedwell's first basket for Delta off the bench. And we're set to go again. 12-12 game, 2:50 to go, first quarter. Indians have it. Here's a drive to the paint. Now a feed to a cutter. It schemes. He tries it off the glass. No. Nice rebound inside by McClung. Here's a turnover. It goes out of bounds. Hunt tried to pick up the steal. It was a deflection that he nearly got, but it went out of bounds on the far sideline, and Ole Miss will keep it. So no turnover there. Nearly a turnover. Delta among the state leaders in steals per game as a team. They are very good defensively. Swanner, three-pointer, rattles out, no. Delta with the board, give it to Josh Bryan. He'll bring it down the floor quickly on the pass to Bedwell. Now cross court, they feed it in the corner. Three-pointer by Brady Hunt, no good. Left it short. Rebound, Ole Miss. Horton with the board, Horton with the drive. He'll come to the free throw line. Drives inside. Now feeds back out for a three-pointer. It rattles out, no good. And Delta with the rebound again, this time by Bedwell off the miss by Colin Yoder. Zach Garner with the ball, 40 feet from the basket in the forecourt. He'll pull it out and reset the offense near the timeline. Gibbs on the wing to Bryan. Man-to-man again by Ole Miss defensively. Here's a high post feed to Hunt. Gets it to Bedwell. He'll drive. Fire. Won't go. Rebound McClung of Ole Miss. Indians will bring it across the timeline with a minute and a half to go in the period in a 12-all game. Good game so far, just what we thought we'd see. Swanner with the ball for the Indians. Guarded by Greenberg at the top of the zone. Nearly thrown away. Feed to Yoder in the paint. Back out to Skeens on top. Now on the wing to Horton. Down to 1:10 to go in the first period. Three-pointer on the way from the wing. Couldn't go that time for Horton. Delta with the board. They bring it down the floor quickly. Lob inside. Here's a feed to Bedwell. Back out on top. Great ball movement. Top of the key three. Won't go for Bryan. Rebound inside. Knocked out of Hunt's hands. Long lead pass on the break. Indians lay it up and in, and a whistle. And a foul on a beautiful look down the floor and a hoop by Anthony Horton. That bucket's going to count. He's got 9 points in the game, and it's 14-12, Ole Miss, with 52 seconds to go in the period. The foul is going to be on Josh Bryan, and a free throw opportunity coming up for Anthony Horton. His first trip to the stripe, and he rattles it in. 10 points in the first quarter for Anthony Horton. Delta's going to have to find a way to stop him. 15-12, Ole Miss. Final 40 seconds of the first period. Pass knocked away, goes to the backcourt, retrieved by Bedwell. He'll bring it across the timeline again. Now he'll drive to the top of the key, bring it back out. They'll give it to Bryan on the wing. Back out on top to Bedwell. Ole Miss fans are having a good time. Their team is out on top of unbeaten Delta. Clock down to 20 seconds to go. Here's Bedwell. Feeds the give and go to Hunt in the paint. He's mugged, trying to go up for the shot. He'll go to the line. Anthony Horton, I believe, is going to be the offender. It is, and that's trouble for Ole Miss because he's got 10 points and 2 fouls. It's going to be a common foul. Delta gets it back in off the baseline pass. Clock down to the final 12 seconds of the period. Bedwell, lazy pass, nearly threw it away. Clock under 10 now. Here's Garner on top. He takes a foul. Good foul that time to stop the clock with 5.7 seconds here. That was Yoder who did a smart thing. They had a foul to give, and he did give one. Now checking in for Ole Miss, Tyler Sizemore. So 5.7 to go. It's a sideline inbounds play forecourt right next to the bench on the Mississinewa side. Here's Bryan driving. Clock down to 3, down to 2. He'll fire on the run. We've got a whistle and a charge on Josh Bryan. Delta turns it over for the 4th time, and that's trouble for Delta. Mild trouble. Second foul in the first quarter on Josh Bryan, and he's going to come out of the game. 0.7 of a second to go here in the period. Quick toss in. One shot coming from 60 feet. It's going to be off the backboard, no good. We've played the first 8 minutes here in Royerton. At the break, Mississinewa 15, Delta 12. Back with second quarter action after this timeout on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to the ball game. We move for second quarter action, and it's Delta for one of the few times this season trailing at the first stop, 15-12. Eagles scored the first 5 points of this game, but a new look here for the Eagles fans who aren't accustomed to seeing the Eagles go behind, but they're behind now by 3. Mostly because of the work of Anthony Horton from Ole Miss. 10 first quarter points, but he has 2 fouls. And Josh Bryan with 7 first quarter points for Delta, but also with 2 fouls. Personal fouls are going to be a factor in this game. So we're back at it here. Ole Miss to start the second quarter with the ball, and they've got the 3-point lead at 15-12. Yoder has it. Delta still back in that 2-3 zone. Swanner with it out at the volleyball line. Gives it high post. Now they work it to the wing, now to the baseline to McClung. Skip pass near side. Here's a baseline drive. Shot up off the rim, no good. Skeens couldn't connect. And here's a whistle and a loose ball foul on the rebound battle under the basket. It'll be on Ole Miss. Give the foul to Colin Yoder. His second, team's fourth. Delta back to work in the offensive end here, trailing by 3. There's a nice high-low feed into the paint from Wilburn to Bedwell, who gets fouled on the catch by an Ole Miss defender. That's going to be on Heisman Skeens. 15 foul against Mississinewa. Baseline inbound play comes into Garner. Garner in the paint, gives off to Wilburn. Wilburn fakes, fires off the glass, no good. Rebound comes down to McClung of Ole Miss. First minute of the second quarter in a 15-12 game. The Indians out in front of the Eagles. Skeens now gets it out on top between the rings to Swanner. He'll cut loose a long 3 off the front iron. No good. Offensive rebound. Ole Miss to McClung. Skeens out on top with it. Sam Cox in the game, playing on the top of the 2-3 zone. Here's a baseline pass from McClung. Can't find his shot. Back out to Skeens on top. He'll give it off to Dean. Dean works it on the near wing to Swanner. High post now. One dribble off to the wing to Skeens, who drives it, gives baseline. Now back out on top. Good defense by Delta. Skeens a long 3 off the mark. Offensive glass for Ole Miss again. Shot won't go. Hunt with the rebound for Delta. Eagles can tie with a triple here. Bedwell drives inside, fakes, fires off the back iron, no. Rebound comes down to Sizemore of Ole Miss. Both teams cold to open the second quarter, and there's a travel. Sizemore took a step before he put it on the floor. Second turnover by Ole Miss. Delta has yacked it up 4 times, and just that fast. Off the bench in the dead ball, Sam Cox out, Josh Bryan back in for Delta. 6:05 to go here in the second quarter. Mississinewa 15, Delta 12. That's where we ended things in the first period. Both teams have gone more than 2 minutes without scoring. Here's an inside feed to the baseline and another Ole Miss foul as Hunt tried to hit Wilburn down low. I think it's going to be Sizemore. It is on Sizemore. First one on him, 6th on the team. Delta back to work offensively. Hunt drives, forces it up, can't get it, but he'll collect the foul, and he'll shoot 2. Give the foul to Larry Dean. First one on him, the 7th on the team. So this is a 2-shot trip to the line for Brady Hunt, and from now on, the rest of the half, Delta will be in the bonus. First free throw, good. Hunt with his first point of the game to make it 15-13. Brady's a good-looking young player. Had a nice chat with his dad earlier. Second free throw, left, off the mark. 1 out of 2 for him. Here comes Ole Miss with the board. Indians leading 15-13. Sizemore. Swanner on the wing. 3-pointer splash. Landon Swanner, his first triple. It's an 18-13 Ole Miss lead with 5.5 to go before halftime. Garner on a drive out near the arc. He gets bumped and fouled. Foolish foul. Larry Dean with his second personal. You can't do anything there to help your team because he's driving away from the basket 25 feet away, and now you send him to the strike. Like to have that one back if you're Ole Miss. Going to the line is Zach Garner for 1 and the bonus. Checking in just that quickly for Larry Dean is Anthony Horton. He's back in the game, Mr. Offense for Ole Miss. Garner with the first one, missed it. Rebound, Horton. Got to hit your free throws. Delta going to some backcourt pressure here, token pressure, with 5:15 to go in the first half. Indians with the ball and the 5-point advantage. Swanner with it on the wing. Now out on top to Sizemore here on the near wing to Skeens. On top to Horton. Horton will dribble back out near the timeline. He better be careful. He's a foot from that midcourt stripe. You step on it, you turn it over. Delta will go back in that 2-3 zone, and Horton content to stand out 25 feet and pound the ball. Now he'll drive, forces it up, won't go. Fouled by a Delta defender. He'll shoot 2 free throws. Zach Garner Second foul for him, Delta's 5th. And at the stripe again, Anthony Horton. 1 out of 1 in the game from the charity stripe. First one, no good, rattled out. He had that look on his face, that body language look, after that one rattled out. You've all been there. If you've shot a free throw, you know what I'm talking about. Thought it was in, it was not. He'll shoot another. Josh Greenberg back in the game for Delta. Free throw on the way, got the second one. Horton with his 11th point, 1 out of 2, and we got a timeout taken during the dead ball. We'll stay right here with you. 19-13, Mississinewa out in front, 4:47 to go, second quarter. So it's been quite a game. Delta led 5-0 early. Josh Bryan scored the first 5 points of the game for Delta. And things were looking rosy a couple minutes in. But Ole Miss caught fire. Anthony Horton scored 10 points in the first quarter for the Indians, and they came roaring back, took their first lead at 12-10, and led at the stop 15-12. So we're all set to go off the Mississinewa timeout. Delta has it in the forecourt. They need a hoop. Bryan driving, has it knocked away, gets it back, feeds out on top Wilburn. Wilburn drives. He's going to be grabbed on the way. That's going to be a foul on Sizemore. 2 on him, and fouls are going to start to be a real factor in this game, especially in the second half. That's the 9th foul on Mississinewa. Free throws for Tyler Wilburn, 1 and 1, and he hits the first to earn the second. Wilburn off the schneid with his first point. 19-14. Checking into the game between free throws is Cade Campbell. Second free throw by Wilburn, also good. Attaboy, got them both. Nice trip. 19-15 is the Ole Miss lead now. 4:25 to go, second quarter. Swanner with the dribble, gives on the wing. Now they work it out on top. It goes through the hands of Skeen into the backcourt, and he goes back to retrieve it. It's over and back. A violation, a turnover by Ole Miss, their third turnover. And Delta will inbound it just on the forecourt side of midcourt. Now Bryan, Brady Hunt. Feeds low post. Bryan kicks it to the corner, now on top to Wilburn. He'll drive to the paint. Fakes. Fires off the glass. No good, but another whistle, another foul. This is going to become a free throw parade before the day is over. Sizemore picks up his third foul for Ole Miss. And at the line again is Wilburn, and he'll shoot another one after hitting the first to make it 19-16. Wilburn with his third point. Make it 4 now as he hits another free throw. And it's tightened up now to 19-17. Ole Miss in the forecourt. McClung on the wing. Delta man-to-man on this trip. A true man-to-man. Hunt out on top, guarding McClung. Now on the wing to Swanner, guarded by Bryan. Now a switch on top with Hunt out there. Watch out if you're Ole Miss. Hunt is dangerous at the top of that defense. Heisman schemes, takes it to the wing, works it back out on top to Sizemore, playing with 3 fouls. Swanner picks up his dribble, feeds the baseline. McClung working on Wilburn. Fakes, fires, got it off the glass with the left hand. Pretty finish for his 7th point. 21-17 Ole Miss with 3:20 to go, second quarter. Delta's got a game on its hands. They're going to win again. They're going to have to earn it the hard way. Here's a low post feed to Bryan, and he's fouled on the catch. That's going to be costly for a couple reasons. Second personal foul on Heisman schemes. It's the 10th on the team, and it's Josh Bryan to shoot 2. Double bonus time from here on out for Delta. First free throw, what else? Rolls out, no good. The broadcaster kiss of death. Josh is an 84% free throw shooter coming in, and he missed it. He'll have another one, though, looking for his 8th point of the game. It's on the way, and it's good. 1 out of 2 at the stripe. And we've got a timeout taken by Delta. We'll take it with them. 3:13 to go in first half action. It's 21-18. Mississinewa over Delta on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
Welcome back to the ball game. 3:10 to go before halftime. It's a 21-18 game with Mississinewa leading Delta. Ole Miss has looked very good in this game. They're a good team. They've beaten some really talented ball clubs. I wouldn't want to play them. They're pretty sharp. Swanner with it on the wing, guarded closely in the man-to-man by Josh Bryan. Driving to the free throw line. Oh, wow. What a touch foul. Mark Detweiler taking his coat off and throwing it at the scorer's table, and I don't blame him. That was not a foul. Almost no contact from Bryan. It's a common foul. That's the third foul on Josh Bryan, and he has to come out of the game. It's a baseline inbounds play for Mississinewa, and Detweiler is close to a tech. He better be quiet. The official just about to tee him up. It's inbounds in the forecourt. Ole Miss with the ball, leading 21-18. 2:40 to go, second quarter. Here's a drive all the way to the basket. Layup is good. Give the bucket to Campbell. His first two, and it's 23-18. Delta trailing. Greenberg trying to do something about it. Missed a wing three. Offensive rebound by Hunt. Nice job. Bedwell with it inside. Fakes. Has his shot blocked. Nearly out of bounds. Ole Miss is going to come with the ball on a scramble on the floor and dual possession. And let's see who gets the ball. I think it might be Ole Miss. It is going to be Ole Miss. You hear the Ole Miss fans. That was a great block on the backside help by Brendan Gokenauer, who really swatted the shot. It's going to be Delta ball. Baseline inbound play for the Eagles, trailing by 5. 2:12 to go, second quarter. Wilburn drives, cut off. He'll fire a 10-footer. It's good. Wilburn with his 7th point, 23-29. Delta back within a triple. It's a one-possession game as we go under the 2-minute mark of period number 2. Horton with it, guarded by Bedwell. Shake and bake move. Pass here to the corner to Gokenauer. Now back out on top to Swanner, who will drive it. Fake it up, fire it up, no good. Rebound, Greenberg by Delta. And as he's jumping out of bounds, he throws it back off a player. Cade Campbell rather. Heady play to keep the ball for Delta. Here come the Eagles with a chance to tie. Minute and a half to go before halftime. Man-to-man, sticky man-to-man by Ole Miss on defense. Bedwell out on top, feeds inside low post to Hunt. Double team, fires anyway. Jump hook, good! First basket of the game for Brady Hunt. He's got 3 points, and it's 23-22. Delta back within a point. Final 106 of the half. Way out in the corner of the forecourt near the timeline. Horton on the dribble. He'll drive it. Got away with a push-out. They get it to the corner. Now out on top. Gokenauer, three-pointer. No good. Delta rebound. Give the glass to Bedwell. 50 seconds to go before halftime. Eagles behind by a point. Chance to get back on top. Big possession here. Wilburn works it on top to Bedwell. They swing it far side to Greenberg. He'll drive to the top of the key, to the elbow. Gives off to Hunt. Hunt gives up on top to Bedwell. Hunt got away with a push-off. Clock down to 26. Here comes Bedwell. In the corner now, near side to Wilburn. Tries to feed the low post, can't do it. Nearly throws it away. It's out of bounds off a deflection from Campbell. Nice hands defensively that time, but Delta will have the ball. 18.8 seconds to go. before halftime. It's Mississinewa 23, Delta 22. Delta has trailed at halftime only one time this year. Let's see if they can get back on top. Greenberg will bring it to the backcourt, now across the timeline with 15. Now to the near wing. Now a cutter down low. He feeds corner of the key. Wilburn, nice feed underneath. Hunt, can't get the layup. Tip won't go. Bedwell has it for a third try. He takes it up strong, and he's fouled with under 2 seconds to go. Mississinewa foul. I believe it's going to be on number 30, Cade Campbell. And it is his first. 2 free throws coming for Connor Bedwell. The lead at stake here. First one to tie, no good. He'll have another. This one can tie. Bedwell with 2 points in the game on a bucket from the floor. Here comes the free throw. Got it. Ball comes in. Here's a 50-footer on the way. It's off the back iron, off the board. No good. A near miss off the hands of Swanner. And we've reached halftime. Haven't settled a thing here in Royerton at the intermission. Delta 23, Mississinewa 23. Back with the halftime show after this timeout on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. A 50-50 ball. An elbow to the ribs. A sudden flash of tempers. In sports, anything can happen in the heat of the moment. The Indiana High School Athletic Association reminds you that when cooler heads prevail, everybody wins. When the game heats up, will you keep your cool? This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
Everybody loves a good sports movie.
I've seen Rudy 10 times.
I love Hoosiers.
If there were a sports movie about steroids, it might be called The Myth, the Truth, and the Consequences. The myth is that steroids are good for your game. The truth is they're bad for you and the sport you play. And the long-term consequences on your health are downright ugly.
That's one movie I think I'll skip.
High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
Welcome back to Delta High School. We're at halftime in a nail-biter today. Unbeaten Delta, number 2 in 3A. Ole Miss not intimidated by that at all. And it's a 23-23 game at intermission. Mississinewa led after a period 15-12. Delta outscored Mississinewa 11-8 in period number 2 to force the tie going to the locker rooms. We've been tied at 10, 12, and 23. Delta led most of the first quarter. Mississinewa led nearly all of the second quarter, and we've got ourselves a Donnybrook here this afternoon on Matinee Saturday in February of 2019. Fantastic game, well played, well executed. Delta with 4 turnovers, all of them in the first quarter. 3 turnovers by Mississinewa, all but one of those in the first quarter. And a team that plays the defense as well as Delta, when you can play a half and only turn it over 3 times like Mississinewa, you're doing a lot of things right. for your head coach, James Reed. Been a phenomenal game. Couple of big scores, having big days. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But, man, what a first half. Really exciting. This one is anybody's to win going down the stretch. And as I said during the game itself, fouls have become quite an issue in this one for both teams, and they are going to be huge factors going down the stretch today. And teams that lose their top players to fouls or teams that don't hit their free throws are going to be in some trouble. We'll take another break, come back, total up some numbers, give you the halftime scoring individually after this timeout on Beaver Media and on the Delco Preps channel. Stay right there.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. The clutch shot, the timely hit, the perfect pitch, the heroic catch, the brilliant save, the photo finish. The Indiana High School Athletic Association would like to remind you that the biggest plays in sports matter little if you don't practice sportsmanship. Character counts. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community. The clutch shot, the timely hit, the perfect pitch, the heroic catch, the brilliant save, the photo finish. The Indiana High School Athletic Association would like to remind you that the biggest plays in sports matter little if you don't practice sportsmanship. Character counts. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community. A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit. Pure sport. Pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community. A 50-50 ball, an elbow to the ribs, a sudden flash of tempers. In sports, anything can happen in the heat of the moment. The Indiana High School Athletic Association reminds you that when cooler heads prevail, everybody wins. When the game heats up, will you keep your cool? This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
We're back at halftime at Delta High School. The number 2 Eagles and Mississinewa tied at 23 apiece at the intermission. First half scoring, we'll go right down the list because a lot of guys have played in this game, especially for Ole Miss. Larry Dean started, didn't score. Tay McClung started, 7 points. Landon Swanner started, 3 points. Anthony Horton had a great first period, started and scored 11, 10 of them in the opening period. Heisman Skeen started, didn't score. Off the bench, Colin Yoder scoreless. Tyler Sizemore scoreless. Cade Campbell with a bucket for 2. Brendan Gokenauer off the bench, scoreless for the Indians in their total of 23. For Delta in the first half, Garner started, didn't score. Bryan started, scored 8, including the game's first 5. Tyler Wilburn with 8 unofficially. Josh Greenberg with 3 unofficially on a triple. Brady Hunt, old-fashioned three-point plays are his specialty. He has a bucket and a free throw for 3 points at halftime. Connor Bedwell with 1 point on a free throw. Sam Cox played but did not score in the first half for Delta. So each team with 23, each team coming on the floor. We'll take one more break and then come back to set up the third quarter after this timeout on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel. You stay right there.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in?
Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit ihsaa.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
Who do I play high school softball for? I play for my mom and dad who've never missed a game.
Whether they're playing for their teammates, their classmates, or their community, high school student athletes in Indiana learn important lessons they'll use for the rest of their lives, like respect for the rules and the value of hard work and sacrifice. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Just about set for the start of the third quarter here at Delta in a 23-23 game. Fouls are going to be important in the second half. 2 men in the game with 3 fouls each. Josh Bryan for Delta. Tyler Sizemore for Ole Miss. The bigger factor for the Indians is they've got a bunch of guys with 2. Larry Dean with 2. Anthony Horton with 2. Heisman Skeens with 2. Colin Yoder with 2. We're underway in the second half. Ole Miss with the ball, moving it left to right across your imagination. Indians with the first crack at the scoreboard here in period number 3. 3-pointer, Swanner, no good. Big, tall, rebound, 15 feet, 20 feet in the air. Cleared away by Josh Bryan. Here come the Eagles. Wilburn in the corner. Out on the wing to Greenberg. He'll drive this way. Now pick it up, cross-court pass to Wilburn. Drives inside, feeds baseline for Garner. Garner one dribble in trouble. Back out on top to Bryan. Bryan guarded closely man-to-man on this trip by Ole Miss. Now Wilburn out on top. Garner here in the near corner. Feeds Hunt underneath. Triple team. Gets it back out on top. Now on the wing. 3-pointer no good by Wilburn. Offensive rebound by Bryan. Turns, fires, hits. Josh Bryan with his 10th point in the game. And Delta goes back on top 25-23 in the first minute of the third quarter. This is going to be a great game down the stretch. Don't you dare go away. All the neighbors. Ole Miss trailing for the first time since late first quarter action. They go to the baseline and McClung goes up strong. Bryan couldn't do anything defensively to risk a foul. Easy layup off the glass for McClung. He's got 9 points in the game, and it's 25 all. Feed down to the baseline. Bryan fires, won't go. Hunt with the offensive glass. Stick back won't go. Bryan again off the glass. The third try will earn him a trip to the free throw line on an Ole Miss foul. That foul is on Tay McClung. Tay McClung is first. First of the half. Bryan to the free throw line for a pair. First one good. 11 points in the game for Josh Bryan. Delta retakes the lead at 26-25, and this might be Seesaw City the rest of the way. Both of them good by Bryan. The senior is smooth as fresh glass. Timeout taken on the floor. We'll take it with him. 6:23 to go in the third quarter. Delta 27, Ole Miss 25 on the Delco Preps channel.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit ihsaa.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
Brian Beaver back with you from Delta High School. We've got an old-fashioned Hoosier Asteria barn burner today. 6:23 to go, third quarter. Off the double make at the line by Josh Bryan. 27-25, Delta out in front of Ole Miss. This has been a great high school basketball game. I always tell people it's the best money you'll ever spend. Get off your duff, get out, see some people you know, enjoy a good game, support these kids. They work really hard. They deserve your support. Sermon over. We're back underway. Mississinewa with the ball. Skeens has it. Cross-court pass to Swanner on the near side wing. Goes baseline to McClung. He'll drive. Fire off the glass. Got a tough make over Brady Hunt. McClung with his 11th point, and we're tied again at 27 all. Under 6 minutes to go, third quarter. Hunt, wing three, on the way. Left it short, no good. Rebound comes down. It's going to be a loose ball foul. Happened right under me. I saw it plain as day as Tyler Wilburn hooked an Ole Miss player trying to get position. Wilburn's foul gives him 2. Bryan comes out quickly. Connor Bedwell takes his place for Delta. 5:48 to go in the third quarter, 27-27 game. Number 2 Delta and unranked but pretty good Ole Miss. Don't sleep on the Indians. Delta defending. They're man-to-man this trip. Way back out to reset it goes Horton. Horton guarded by Bedwell. Jabs him, brings it back out on top. Bedwell right there in front of him again, near the timeline. Now he'll back off a little. Here's a drive to the paint. 10-footer on the way off the glass, good. Horton with his 13th point of the game, and 29-27, Ole Miss back on top as we seesaw our way through an exciting third quarter. Eagles here in the near forecourt. Greenberg on the wing now to Bedwell. Bedwell drives, feeds here near corner behind a screen. Three-pointer no good by Wilburn. Rebound by Garner. Delta will try it again. Hunt drives inside, loses the handle. It's turned over. Delta's 5th turnover of the game. Quickly down the floor come the Indians. Skeens, Swanner drives, pulls up, 12-footer, in and out, no good. Rebound Wilburn of Delta. He'll push the pace down the floor. Quickly on the near wing on the forecourt. Hunt out on top to Wilburn. Man-to-man defensively by the Indians. Wilburn in trouble. He's going to be called for an offensive foul. He tried to clear out with his arm when he picked up his dribble. That's a good call. It's going to be the 3rd foul on Wilburn. That's a turnover as well on Delta. Their 6th of the game. And checking in for Wilburn, Josh Bryan is back in there. Ole Miss with the ball with the 2-point lead. 4:20 to go, third period. Been a fantastic game. Here's Horton driving it inside, picked up his dribble, works it back out on top. Now in the corner to McClung. They swing it back out on top to Horton. Horton looking for a pick. Can't use it. Now he'll drive. Cut off again. Good defense by Delta. Swanner with it. We're under the 4-minute mark now. And Swanner will drive to the paint. Gives off McClung in the paint. Forces it up. Can't get it to go. Long rebound comes out. And it's on the floor. And McClung's got it. And it's a foul against Delta. In the scramble for the loose ball. That's going to be whistled on Brady Hunt, his first foul of the game, 3rd of the half on Delta. Zach Garner will check out. Sam Cox will run the point now in his place. Baseline forecourt inbound play for Mississinewa. They get it in no trouble. Skeens has it, feeds low post. McClung working on Hunt. Fires no. Good defense in the post by Hunt. Here comes Delta with a chance to retake the lead. Bryan has it, jab steps, drives inside, fires on 3 defenders. Oh, it's an offensive foul. That was a risky play, and that's a huge call in the game. Offensive foul on Josh Bryan, his 4th. It comes with 3:30 left in the third quarter, and Mississinewa leading 29-27. That's a huge call against Delta. They're going to have to really work for win number 19. Mississinewa has it in the forecourt. Skeens for a 3-pointer that comes out no good long. Rebound from the knees on the floor by Bedwell. Here come the Eagles. Bedwell has it. Works in the corner to Hunt. Double team. Gets off to Bedwell. Now out on top to Garner. His swing far side on the wing to Cox. Now in the corner to Greenberg. Greenberg. Low post to Hunt. Triple team. He'll fire from 12 anyway. And he got it. Brady Hunt. 5 points in the game. We're tied again at 29. Quickly the other way. Shot. No good, but a foul on Hunt on a drive inside by Anthony Horton. What a fantastic game. Hunt with his second personal, the 5th on Delta. Only one team foul so far in the second half against Mississinewa. Going to the stripe is Anthony Horton to shoot 2. Active shooting foul. He rims it out. There's that body language again at the other end. That can't leave points on the table. Another one to break the tie by Horton. It's up. It's good. All net. 14 points for him on the day, and Mississinewa back on top, 30-29. Delta on the attack offensively against that Mississinewa man-to-man defense. Greenberg now to Bedwell. Out on top, Hunt three-pointer on the way. Good! Brady Hunt buries the triple. It's a dagger. Time out on the floor. 2:25 to go in the third quarter. Delta's back on top. It's Eagles 32, Indians 30 on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to the ball game. Brian Beaver along with you this afternoon. It's great having you all out there, lending me your ears for a while on this Saturday afternoon. This seesaw thing has swung back to Delta's side again at 32-30 on that Brady Hunt ice water top of the key triple. Eagles lead by 2. 2:25 to go third quarter. The benches empty back out onto the floor, and we're about set to go. It'll be a baseline inbounds play in the backcourt. Ole Miss will take it the full 84 feet. They can tie or even retake the lead depending on what bucket they might get. Across the timeline, Anthony Horton, good-looking junior guard. On the left-hand dribble near the volleyball line, Delta going 2-3 matchup zone here again. Thrown away on the feed to the post by Skeens. Delta has it. First turnover of the second half by Ole Miss. Eagles have it. Bedwell with it on the baseline. Spins, fakes, fires, hits! Great move underneath. The come and get it by Bedwell. Delta leads 5-4. 34-30. Steal on the other end. Turnover, Ole Miss. Fast break. Laid up. In! Greenberg has the bucket. The seal has been broken. 36-30. Number 2 Delta. You hear this crowd. They're going crazy on State Road 28. Biggest lead by Delta in a long time. Here's a baseline drive. Shot off the glass. Beautiful in traffic by Horton. Give him 16 to make it 36-32. Wow. Unbelievable game. Delta attacking with the 4-point lead. Winding down to the 1-minute mark in the third quarter. Ole Miss looking to trap if they can. Garner gives off to Cox. Cox out on top. Takes it right side. Now they work it to the corner. Bedwell fouled on the dribble drive. Trying to get out of the corner. Ole Miss picks up the foul. Larry Dean is going to be the guilty party. He has 3 in the game. Second team foul of the half against the Indians. Common foul. Dean will check out. Going in his place is Cade Campbell. Delta brings it inbounds. No problems. Garner near side wing to Cox. Cox looking for Hunt. Gets it to him on top. Hunt will dribble and then hand off to Garner, who spins inside. Gets cut off works it in the corner near side. Bedwell had it knocked out of his hands. Good defense, sticky hands by Anthony Horton, but Delta catches a break and they'll get the ball on the sideline here in the forecourt in front of their own bench. Bedwell gets it into Garner. Final 30 seconds of period number 3. If you just work this right, you're assured of having the lead at the stop. Delta has the ball in the hands of Josh Greenberg. Works it way back out on top to Garner. Man-to-man by the Indians. Clock under 20 and rolling. Garner, like Bobby Plump in Hoosiers, standing there. 40 feet from the basket. Clock down to 10. Zach says, do you want us to go? Coach says, yeah. Clock down to 5. High post to Cox. Clock winding down. 3, 2, baseline drive. Bedwell tries to feed to Hunt. Can't do it, turns it over, and that takes us to the end of the third quarter. What a fantastic third period here in Royerton. We go to the break. Delta 36, Ole Miss 32 on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
We head for the fourth quarter in a barn burner in Delta's gym. Eagles 36, Ole Miss 32 as we go to the fourth quarter. Mississinewa led at the end of one, 15-12. We were tied at halftime, 23-all. 36-32 after 3. And Delta's defense, I said this before. I haven't shared this with you yet. Did a little research last night. And to the best of my ability to find it, through the 18 games that Delta has played, they had a single-digit defensive scoring quarter at least 24 times coming in, and they've done it twice today. They hold Mississinewa to 8 in period 2 and hold them to 9 in period 3. This team is pretty darn good defensively. Starting the period here on the near end of the floor. Hunt has it on the high post. Man-to-man again by Mississinewa defensively. Hunt drives, jab step, pull back, no. Couldn't get it to go on the jumper. Rebound comes down to Horton of Mississinewa. Here's a drive by Skeens. He'll work it to the corner to Swanner. Swanner traveled. Pass wasn't great. He tried to catch it on one foot to keep it from going out of bounds, and he hopped for a turnover. Only 5 turnovers in the game by Mississinewa, 2 in the second half, and only 8 in the game by Delta, 4 in each half. So the Eagles have the ball at a 4-point lead here in the early fourth quarter. Looking for win number 19 in a row. Hard fastball feed from the high post and Hunt to the low post and Garner, and it's a foul on Ole Miss. Common foul. Give the offense to Cade Campbell. Second one on him, 5th on the team. Delta needs to be aggressive and force some fouls here to get in the bonus. Greenberg has it. Cross-court pass here near wing to Garner, now in the corner to Bedwell. Back out to Garner. Back to Bedwell as they play patty cake here on the near sideline. Bedwell, double team. Back out to Hunt. They'll swing it around the perimeter. Far side to Greenberg. Feeds baseline. Spin. Firing. Missing by just a hair off the glass is Bedwell. Good defensive routine that time for Ole Miss. They've got the ball trailing by 4. Indians looking for a bucket. They don't have to settle for threes at this point. Spin move inside. Horton works it back out on the wing. Now inside the arc for a long 2. No good. Shot that time by Campbell, but he couldn't find the range, and Delta has the board and the ball. A minute and a half into the fourth quarter. Far corner with it. Now out on the wing. Wilburn. Greenberg near side 3. Got it! Josh Greenberg, 8 points in the game. It's a 39-32 Delta lead. Eagles packing it back in the 2-3 zone. Here's a low post feed and a foul on Delta on the pass down low. And that's going to be on Connor Bedwell. 1 in the game on him. 6th on Delta. Checking in for the Eagles is Josh Bryan, and going back in the game for Ole Miss is Larry Dean, one of their guards. So Bryan has to be careful. He's playing with 4 personal fouls. Ole Miss with the ball, looking for a bucket. Here's a baseline move and an offensive foul, and a good call on good defense by Greenberg on the drive inside by McClung. 2nd foul on McClung. It's also a turnover. Delta gets the ball back on good defense in the post by Greenberg. Eagles 39, Indians 32, under 6 minutes to go in the game. Greenberg here on the near wing. Feeds low post. Bryan back out on top. Greenberg for 3. Rattles out, no good. Hunt with the board. He gives off. Fake fire. No good off the glass that time by Bedwell. 3rd try by Delta. Shot up, no good. A 4th try. Bryan's got it. Follows his own for the bunny. And it's 41-32. Biggest lead of the game on Josh Bryan's bucket to give him 14 on the night. Wow, what a fantastic game. Here's a near turnover by Mississinewa. They managed to get it back. Skeens drives inside, fires off the glass, traveling on Skeens on the spin move. Listen to the Delta fans. This is the biggest lead of the game by either team at 9 points. We were tied at 29. It's a 12-3 Delta run. Now backcourt pressure being applied by Mississinewa. Eagles break it with no sweat. Out on top, Garner has it. Hunt trying to screen for him. Now far side wing to Bedwell. Low post feed to Bryan. Bryan, 1 dribble, fakes, fires, partially blocked. Rebound, Mississinewa. Ball knocked loose. It's on the floor. Indians have it quickly down the floor. Free throw line jump shot up. No good by Horton. Hunt clears away the glass for Delta. 4:45 to go in the game. It's 41-32 Delta. Eagles look good here in the second half. They've played sharper in periods 3 and 4. Josh Bryan with the ball. Gets it to Hunt. Out on top. Looks down low. Feeds down low. Now they work it to the wing in Greenberg. Greenberg drives to the top of the key. Fires on the run of the lane. It's good! He's fouled! The bucket is going to count! Great move and finish by Josh Greenberg in the paint. Wow. 10 points in the game. Give the foul to Skeens, his 3rd. Bucket counts. Greenberg to the line. Hits. Got his first 3-point play of the game. The end one, old-fashioned way, 44-32. Delta's every bit the number 2 team in 3A, folks. I'm here to tell you. If you've not seen this team play, man, you need to. They're pretty darn good. Ole Miss now needs to get rolling. Trailing here in the mid-4th quarter. We've just gone under the 4-minute mark. 3-pointer up, no good by Swanner. A 1-shot trip again on the rebound by Hunt. Delta is asserting itself with a 12-point lead and the ball. These fans love their Eagles, and rightfully so. Man-to-man defensively, pass low post. Bryan, triple team out on the wing. Garner thought about a 3. He's a heady point guard. He just reverses the ball and resets. Greenberg with it at the free throw line, dribbling to the far corner. 3-pointer up. Good! Connor Bedwell drills the ice water triple. 6 for him in the game, and it's 47-32, and a whistle at the other end, and a timeout, Ole Miss. 3:20 to go in the game. Delta has blown the lid off. It's the Eagles 47, Ole Miss 32 on Delco Preps channel and Beaver Media.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Indiana, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
A little Oye Komova playing on the PA here, and it's probably Oye in the Mississinewa huddle. They've played a good game, and now they're down 15 points. This is an 18-3 Delta run from a 29-all tie to a 47-32 lead. And a lot of it with Delta's best scorer, Josh Bryant, on the bench in foul trouble. This is a deep, talented team. They're going to be a tough out when the state tournament rolls around. Baseline forecourt inbounds play. Mississinewa has it on the attack with Skeens on top. Now gets to Swanner on the wing. Delta, man-to-man this trip, especially on the ball. Baseline feed now in the post, and it's fired up and hit from 10 feet by Colin Yoder. His first bucket to make it 47-34 and kind of stop the bleeding a little bit for Ole Miss. 2:55 left in the game. Delta in the driver's seat. Wilburn has it right in front of his bench. Gets it in the corner to Garner. Bryant inside. Feeds baseline. Cutter off the basket. No good. Rebound loose. Wilburn gets his own. Back out on top. Josh Bryant with it. He'll give off to Garner. Now we've got a whistle away from the ball down low, and it's a low post position battle foul against Ole Miss. Now we got something going on. Somebody's jawboning down here. You heard the fans react. The foul on 32. That's Colin Yoder, his third. Each team with 16 fouls in the second half. Next foul, it's not offensive, we'll send someone to the bonus. Delta with the ball in the forecourt. Wilburn out on top. Picks up his dribble. Works it cross court near the sideline to Greenberg. We got a whistle along the baseline and another foul against Ole Miss. Anthony Horton picks up his third personal for the Indians. That sends Delta to the bonus with 2:28 left in the game. And going to the stripe, Josh Bryant, the lefty, fires and he hits. I've got him for 15 points in the game. He'll shoot another one in a 48-34 game. Bryant having a great senior year. He rattles in the second one. Give him 16 in the game. The lead is 49-34. Delta with 2:20 to go in the game. Three-pointer up from the wing, no good by Horton. Long rebound to Bryant of Delta. He's stripped from behind coming down the floor. It's loose on the floor in the corner. Bodies all over the place. And Delta calls a timeout with Connor Bedwell on the floor in a scrum. We'll take a quick break. It's Delta 49, Mississinewa 34 on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
The clutch shot, the timely hit, the perfect pitch, the heroic catch, the brilliant save, the photo finish. The Indiana High School Athletic Association would like to remind you that the biggest plays in sports matter little if you don't practice sportsmanship. Character counts. Practice sportsmanship. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in this community.
It's Delta 49, Mississinewa 34. 2:13 to go, fourth quarter. Coming out of the timeout, Ole Miss coming out of the huddle. Delta already on the floor. This was a 23-23 game at halftime. Delta has held Ole Miss to 11 second half points and just 2 here in the fourth quarter. Phenomenal team defense by Delta. Eagles have the ball. They're in good shape. Bedwell here in the near corner. He'll dribble it out on top. Cross court to Greenberg. Ole Miss man-to-man. They'll look to trap here. Greenberg fires to the baseline. They skip it back out on top. Here's a pass to Bryan. Free throw jumper, no good. Got his own rebound. Delta will recycle the offense, leading by 15. And now Ole Miss looking to trap and foul. They're going to have to play the trap and foul game. They're out of time. Bedwell works it back out on top to Greenberg. Greenberg says, give me some help. Now in the corner, Bedwell, they swing it around the perimeter. Back in Greenberg's hands in front of his bench, you hear the crowd appreciative of the ball movement by Delta. They're playing keep away, and Ole Miss literally can't get to the ball to foul a ball handler. Now they double team Greenberg. He gives to Bryant, back to Wilburn in the corner. The Bedwell wide open on the baseline. Bedwell finds Garner for the lay-in. Zach with his first bucket to make it 51-34. It's all over except for the final score. Shot on the other end, no good by Horton. Wilburn clears the rebound for Delta and brings it across the timeline with a minute to go. Eagles are going to win for the 19th time in a row. Phenomenal streak here in 2018-19. Clock under 50 seconds. Greenberg just taking air out of the ball with the dribble out on top. He'll take it to the paint. Now gets it way back out, 25 feet from the basket on the wing to Wilburn. Wilburn is going to be fouled on a shove from Larry Dean to stop the clock with 38.6 seconds to go. Dean with the foul. It'll be one in bonus time for Tyler Wilburn. I won't tell you what he is at the line. I don't want to jinx him. You know how that is. And he missed it. He had been 4 out of 4. So we go the other way, and Swanner fires a long three that won't go. Wilburn got the rebound, and we're in the final 30 seconds of this one, and Delta's going to win going away. Eagles lead by 17 points. Delta will come across the timeline on the far side with Josh Bryan dribbling, playing keep away from Swanner. You hear the crowd coming to its feet and applauding. Phenomenal performance by Delta today. Final 10 seconds of the game. Wilburn has it near his bench. He looks for help. He'll go back out on top with one dribble, and he's just going to hold it over his head. There's the buzzer. This one is over. Delta stays unbeaten. The final score, Delta 51, Mississinewa 34. An incredible second half by the number 2 Eagles. Good sportsmanship in the handshake line. We're set to put this one in the books. Back after this timeout on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Who do I play high school softball for? I play for my mom and dad who've never missed a game.
Whether they're playing for their teammates, their classmates, or their community, high school student athletes in Indiana learn important lessons they'll use for the rest of their lives, like respect for the rules and the value of hard work and sacrifice. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. A crisp October evening, a stadium filled with fans, a pass-through, a journey completed. State of euphoria? No, the state of Indiana. High school sports, pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Indiana high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to Delta High School. This one in the books, and the Eagles stay unbeaten. There will be at least one, if not two, left in Indiana by the end of the day. The Eagles take care of their business and knock off Mississinewa 51-34. This was a phenomenal game, especially in the second half when Delta played about as well as they've played all year. At the end of one, it was Mississinewa leading Delta 15-12. It was a 23-23 tie at halftime. Then Delta turned up the defense and cooked the Indians in the second half. 36-32 Delta at the end of three, 51-34 Eagles at the end of this one, and a phenomenal performance by the state's number 2 team in the 3A media poll. Not sure if we'll get coach or not. We're going to take a break, total up some scoring, and maybe have coach as well. Mark that while that is. After this timeout on Beaver Media and the Delco Preps channel. Stay right there.
The world of high school sports is filled with athletes who possess the eye of the tiger and whose focus and determination enables them to soar like eagles. The games themselves can't be played without a few zebras. Becoming an IHSAA official is a great way to be part of the action and to support Indiana's healthy tradition of high school athletics. Visit IHSAA.org and get in the game. This message brought to you by the IHSAA and the high schools in your community.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Indiana are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Looking for future leaders we can trust and believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Indiana. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It begins by making their grades and being on time for practice. It includes learning to listen, following directions, accepting responsibility, being a good role model. And it's about respect for officials, opponents, the rules, and each other. The result? It transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. High school sports. There's so much more than just a game. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in Indiana so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the Indiana Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Welcome back to Delta High School. Brian Beaver along with Mark Detweiler, the fine head coach of the Delta Eagles, and they win this one today. Looks like a blowout, 51-34. It was a fist fight for most of this game. First of all, congratulations on your 19th win.
Thank you. Yeah, we had to, it was a battle. It was a fist fight for a while.
Kind of uncharted territory for you guys. You're behind at the end of the first quarter. You fight back to tie it at halftime. And then in the second half, your kids played great defense. You played a lot of it without Josh Bryan. He got his fourth foul at 3:30 of the third quarter. Sat him down for extended periods of time. It was 29-all late third quarter, and then you just pulled the pin on the grenade defensively and just tore it up. You held them to 11 second-half points, 9 in the third quarter, 2 points in 8 minutes in the fourth period.
Yeah, I think the second half was 28-11. And what what we did defensively was phenomenal. Connor Bedwell, that was his best effort. That was his biggest challenge, I think, of the year on the ball. Zach Garner, we had to hide him a little bit. He picked up foul trouble, and he spent a lot of time on the bench tonight too. But what Connor Bedwell did on both ends of the floor, but what he did guarding 24 for them, and because he's phenomenal off the dribble, and he's a load to handle, and man, he was really, really good on the ball, and I think that was a big difference for us. And then to do what we did with Josh on the bench just gives our guys confidence. We made that run with him on the bench.
You talked about the job you did on Anthony Horton, the kid from Mississinewa. He had 10 points in the first period, 11 at halftime, 5 in the second half. And so, you guys really took him out of what he wanted to do a little bit, them out of what they wanted to do a lot.
Right, yeah.
And before you knew it, this tight game was wide open.
Yeah.
And I think so many times we talk about defense creating offense, and I think your defense today kind of lit the fire for your guys. And before you know it, Josh Greenberg's popping threes, and Wilburn's getting tough buckets. Bedwell's getting tough drives and finishes. And now it's a 17-point game, and they're looking to get on the bus.
Yeah, and that's the type of game that seems like Josh Greenberg really thrives in. If it turns into, kind of like a street fight, and it was, when he plays with that kind of edge, then he becomes special. And I thought what he did was really good. And we just, we had a lot of good things in the second half from guys, and dealing with some adversity, some of it self-inflicted, that we just did ourselves in terms of the fouls. So we got through it, got through a Saturday afternoon game, and against a really good team. I think they're averaging like 57, 58 a game. And to do what we did defensively to a team like that is a good sign.
I'm not going to ask you to give away anything, but what did you do better? What did you do differently, if anything, in the second half after you had a chance to go sit in the locker room and figure out, hey, where are we now? We've gotten even at halftime. Where do we go from here?
Right. And, we just talked at halftime about loading the gap on 24. Anytime he had the ball, we wanted to be a full 2 steps towards him, just to make sure he had no gaps. I thought we opened up some lanes in our zone the first half for him, where we just weren't as sharp. So we need to clean that up next week in the zone. But again, what Connor did on the ball, Connor walls up well. Connor's a really good on-ball defender to go with Zach, and we had to move Zach off of him because of the fouls, and Connor was ready and just did a phenomenal job on him.
You're looking down what they did, and we mentioned Horton, who had the big first quarter. He had 10 out of their 15 in the first quarter. Tay McClung comes in here off a 26-point game against a pretty good Wabash team, and you hold him to 11 today and only 4 in the second half.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good job on him.
Yes, yeah, and he got open, I think, on the baseline some in the first half, and we didn't locate him. And, again, when we went man, I just thought we did a better job of sitting down, and we contested, some post entries. I got some deflections on some post entries where they tried to get it to him, and that was key to us. We were able to, I think we manned him the entire second half.
Your confidence right now has to be through the roof, not just because you're 19-0, but because of the way you're beating good teams. This was a good team that you put it on.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the fourth quarter today.
That's a very good basketball team with a lot of weapons. And I thought what we did on the Swanner kid We really paid attention to him. I think we only lost him once in the first half on our zone because he's, again, another kid that's very capable of getting going. And but, yeah, we got a lot of confidence in our defense.
That's when he got his triple, and that's all he got all day.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
That's all he got on you.
That's great.
So,
that is great.
Yeah, like I said, you're 19-0. You're heading back into your conference schedule. Huge game coming up with Newcastle. Everybody knows what they were able to do a year ago, what they're still able to do now. They've started playing better, and you've got what arguably is going to be a game for the conference championship for you guys coming up.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Newcastle. What do you expect? How tough a matchup is that going to be for you guys?
Well, it is. I mean, anytime you got a Division I point guard on the floor like Bumbalo, he's I think he's an all-star worthy type of kid. I mean, certainly, and so we've got to stay solid. We've got to do some things defensively to contain him. But we're going to do what we do. We feel like offensively we got enough weapons. We can use this as a good motivator for us, and we can. Other guys stay aggressive without Josh. They find out that we got guys that can do some things even without him, and because we know teams are going to try to key on him and take some things away. And he'll be ready. He'll be ready after this one, and he'll play a little bit smarter in terms of the fouls next week. And we need to play 30 minutes next week.
And he's a mature kid because when he went back in the game with 4 fouls, there were a couple points where he could have defended a little tougher, and he knew he couldn't risk doing anything but standing there.
Yeah, sometimes you got to concede the bucket so you can stay on the floor.
Yeah, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
So he was smart. He stayed in the game. And you look at it now. While you're here, I want to ask you one more thing. Your JV comes back again today.
Right.
Couple nail biters in a row. They win 47-43, and that's two as good as JV games as I've seen in a long time.
Yes, our JV guys have really come a long way.
Yeah.
Really happy with with where they're at. We got some young guys that are really stepping up, and I couldn't be happier with where they're at right now in their development.
Well, thanks for coming up. Great job by your kids again today. It's a blast.
Yes.
Watching them and telling the rest of the world about them, and the sky's the limit with these kids.
We're pretty blessed to coach these guys. So yeah, thank you.
We'll go get yourself a cold drink, and we're going to let Coach run off and call it a day. He's a fantastic coach. His kids are playing about as well as they've played all year long, and that's saying something because you don't go 19-0 out of the chute without playing some pretty tough teams and beating them in pretty eye-popping, mind-blowing style sometimes. Delta came into this game first in the state, 400-plus teams first in average margin. And what do they do today? They turn a tie game at halftime into a 17-point win over a pretty doggone good Mississinewa team. The folks in Gas City, hey, all tons of respect to you guys. You've got yourselves a fine basketball team, and they're going to make a little noise, I got a feeling, in the state tournament coming up. They are pretty doggone good up Interstate 69. So let's go over the unofficial individual scoring for you today. For Delta, Zach Garner had a bucket for 2 points. Josh Bryan unofficially with 18. Tyler Wilburn with 8. These are all unofficial numbers. Josh Greenberg, 11. Brady Hunt, 8. Connor Bedwell, 6. For the Eagles, Sam Cox didn't score, but he played quite a few minutes for Josh Bryan when he was in foul trouble on the bench. You look down at Mississinewa, Larry Dean didn't score a point. Tay McClung, the guy we talked about briefly with Coach Detweiler, 7 in the first half, 4 in the second half for 11. Landon Swanner, 3 points, 1 triple. That was it. In the first half, he was tap water off in the second half. Anthony Horton played a phenomenal game all the way around. He's an outstanding player. 16 points, 10 in the first period, 11 at halftime, but only 5 in that shutdown second half by the Delta defense. Heisman Skeens didn't score. Colin Yoder, 2 points off the bench. Tyler Sizemore didn't score. Cade Campbell had a bucket for 2 points for the Indians, and Brendan Gokenauer played and didn't score. So, quickly again, the line score, Mississinewa 15-12 at the end of 1, tied up at 23 at half. Delta back in front at the end of 3, 36-32, and Delta wins going away 51-34. With the victory, Delta moves to 19-0 on the season. Mississinewa drops to 10-6 overall, and they've still got a chance to win their conference championship as well. So 2 really good teams that put on a show in the matinee here today at Delta High School. Want to thank Coach Detweiler for coming up, spending a few minutes with us after his team's win. And quickly, turnover battle, 7 in the game by Mississinewa, 8 in the game by Delta. Teams were really good. They played very well. They were very efficient, and they took care of the ball for the most part all day long. It was a really outstanding high school basketball game in early February. That'll do it for us for today. We're glad you came along for the ride as well out there on the World Wide Web. Keep your eyes on my Twitter feed. My handle is at Delco Preps, or on the Delco Preps channel on YouTube. We'll let you know about plans for future broadcasts. Boy, a huge game coming up next Friday night right here as Newcastle takes on Delta. That will be a bit of a sectional preview, and probably for Delta, a chance to win an outright Hoosier Heritage Conference championship. So have a great rest of your Saturday. Take it easy. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. And the final score for the final time here at Delta, it's the Eagles 51, Mississinewa 34. For all of us at Beaver Media, I'm Brian Beaver. Thanks for coming along. We'll see you next time. So long, everybody.